Well, I think the UFC has found their next female superstar, and that is the sister of Alex Poatan Pereira, Aline Pereira. She looks crazy good. She's had two karate combat fights, and in both, she has knocked her opponent out with some classic, Alex Pereira movements. So she looks great, and I'd love to see her at. I'd love to see her with the other women in the UFC and see where she could land because they need some good fights, some entertaining fights, and that is a really that she would bring the house down in terms of betting, in terms of asses in seats, especially with the relation to one of the faces of the UFC, Alex Poatan Pereira. And especially if she comes in the UFC fighting like her brother does, she's going to make bank. She's going to have T-shirts, fight kits sold, all that shit, everything that Alex has got, she can get. It may not be as much as Alex because it's, the comparisons of the gender fan bases and stuff like that, but she's still going to get a lot, especially above many of the other women fighters. I'm talking like Zhang Wei Li level of popularity, maybe she beats Zhang Wei Li. I don't know what weight class she's going to specifically be put in. I think she's tall. So, she's got to be put in the heaviest one possibly, but maybe not. I don't know where she'll land in terms of transfer to weight class in the UFC, but I think in any weight class she moves to, I'm sure she's going to kill it, especially with training with her brother all the time, with Planillo, I might have butchered his name, Planillo Cruz, Alex's coach, especially training with him. She's got a lot of things going for her. She's able to get signed by the UFC. And I definitely think the UFC should sign her. I definitely believe in her. And I'd love to see her fight. I just would. I think the UFC, the other women fighting in the UFC will definitely not welcome her. Want the glory and the fame for themselves so they can be real competitive with her. And it's going to lead to a lot of great build-ups to fights and great fights in general. And that's just leading to, like I said, more asses in seats, more money in betting, more a buildup of fan bases, a lot more interest. It'll be great. It'll be great. I think the UFC should sign her. Don't know if they will. Again, it all comes down to the UFC saying things. For example, the PFL released Pitbull. I'm forgetting his fucking last name, but the fighter's name was called Pitbull in the UFC. No, Bulldog. All right, give me a fucking sec. We're just gonna fucking continue. But it was a PFL fighter was released, and he's a well-known fighter in the PFL. He was released. And he was, when after he was released, he was calling out the PFL, all this stuff. Great time for the UFC to pick him up. They didn't. There's been many fighters that have called for UFC contracts that have not received them. So the same thing may happen to Aline. Who knows? But, because of her brother being Alex Pereira, I'd say she has a really good shot. And she'll look great. I think she will. A lot of faith in her. Hope she goes the distance. Like I said, there's still a lot of heavy hitters in the women's divisions in the UFC. So like I said, it's going to lead to great fights because you never know who's going to win. You got two, like I said, heavy hitters, talented women, going head to head, seeing who comes out on top. It's a must see. It's must see TV, and that's what the UFC needs more of. That's what fighting needs more of. Any facet of fighting. They need more things that are going to equate to or build up to must-see TV. And that's what I think Aline Pereira is going to bring to the table if she is signed to the UFC, which I hope she is. And there's a whole controversy about her still working at Amazon and Alex not being able to provide for her or not giving her money or whatever the fuck it is. Some reporter came out with it. Alex then scolded the reporter. I'm not going to touch it, but, Alex seems like a great guy. I don't know what the whole situation is with that. Let's not even fucking get into it. The bottom line is Aline looks great at Karate Combat, and it makes me wonder how great she will look in the UFC. But overall, you let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next.